Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back. We're so glad you're here. Boys and girls, do you know what's coming up? In just 3 weeks, April 12th, we have the Easter extravaganza. Peter and I are super excited to meet you all again. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sometimes some kids scare Peter, and sometimes Peter accidentally scares kids. But that's not the plan, boys and girls. Peter wants to be friends with all of you, give you high fives or hugs or whatever you're comfortable with. Please don't pet me, Peter. Anyways, you'll want to be there at 10 o'clock, boys and girls. In the past, it's been more of a drop-in, but this time you'll want to be there right at 10 o'clock or before if you want pictures with Peter. So, Peter, you brought your computer along. You must have a lot of work to do. Yeah, a lot of work. That's right, Peter. Well, boys and girls, our story today, we've been talking about Nehemiah and Nehemiah building the wall. Boys and girls, that was a huge task, a lot of work. And I nearly just gave away our punchline already, but I got a whole... That's right, Peter. Sometimes I just rush so far ahead. We were starting off in Nehemiah chapter 2. Last week, we talked about the beginning of the chapter. Today, we're picking up in verse number 9. Then I came to the governors beyond the river, and I gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent captains of the army and horsemen with me. When Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant the Ammonite heard of it, it grieved them exceedingly that there was come a man to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. So I came to Jerusalem and was there 3 days. So boys and girls, Nehemiah travels to the city. He has the letters that the king gave him. We talked about how God had worked all this out and had used the king, that God is the one who's orchestrating all of this. Well, he delivers the letter. And off to the side, kind of reminds me of of a cartoon almost. You see the bad guys off to the side. Yeah, the smoke's going out of the top of their head. They're thinking, they're rubbing their chins like, wait a minute. Someone's come to help these people? Sanballat and Tobiah are excited that the city's... excited maybe is not the right word, but they're glad that the city is in ruins. So all of a sudden, when they see it's going to start to get restored, they're not happy about this. So it's kind of like an introduction to these two characters. Verse number 12, the I is Nehemiah. And I arose in the night, I and some few men with me, neither told I any man what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem. Neither was there any beast with me, save the beast that I rode upon. And I went out by night by the gate of the valley, even before the dragon well, into the dung fort, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem, which were broken down, and the gates thereof were consumed with fire. Then I went on to the gate of the fountain and to the king's pool, but there was no place for the beast that was under me to pass. So, boys and girls, you're picturing all this rubble, okay, burned out, broken down, just basically looks like a junk heap, okay? He can't even get his horse through. And these are the walls that he has come back to build. Verse 15, then went I up in the night by the brook and viewed the wall and turned back and entered by the gate of the valley and so returned. And the rulers knew not whither I went or what I did, neither had I as yet told it to the Jews, nor to the priests, nor to the nobles, nor to the rulers, nor to the rest that did the work. So boys and girls, Nehemiah goes out and he surveys. Okay, he's trying to figure out what is this project and its fate. What do we have to do? And he hasn't told, that's right, what does he have to work on? And so he goes and he looks and he's surveying what there is to do. Verse 17, then said I unto them. So now he comes to the people. He's like, all right, he's taken it all in. He's made some observations. Now he comes to the people. Then said I unto them, ye see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lieth waste, and the gates thereof are burned with fire. Come and let us build up the wall of Jerusalem, that we be no more a reproach. All right, so boys and girls, Peter looked up for us how to build a wall. Okay, so Peter's doing some research for us. Nehemiah, unfortunately, could not go to his computer and just Google it, for Nehemiah didn't have a computer. But that's very smart, Peter. I'm glad you looked that up. Then verse number 18, then I told them of the hand of my God, which was good upon me, and also the king's words that he had spoken unto me. And they said, here it is, boys and girls, here's the punchline I couldn't give away earlier. Verse 18, let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for this good work. So boys and girls, they're like, yes, somebody is here to lead us. Let's rise up and work. Let's build. They're getting into it. Boys and girls, did you know that God created work before Adam and Eve sinned? Work is actually a good thing. Well, now part of the curse was making it harder, weeds and thistles and thorns and all of that. But God planned for us to work. That was his original plan. So work is good. And these people were rising up to work. So Nehemiah gives his report and they get on board. They're like, yes, we have a leader. Let's do this. Work is good, boys and girls. Don't avoid work. Sometimes we see a giant task and we just keep pushing it off and pushing it away. It doesn't usually just go away, does it, Peter? We just have to do it the next day or then get in trouble somehow for not doing it. But boys and girls, you always have to do it. It amazes me sometimes when I get to the end of the school year and sometimes my students will act surprised when they have to miss work to do homework they didn't do the night before, like you've been in school 7 months. But anyways, you can try to put it off. It'll come back, boys and girls. That's just how it is. Well, in verse number 19, but when Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant the Ammonite and Geshem the Arabian heard it, they laughed us to scorn and despised us and said, what is this thing that ye do? Will ye rebel against the king? So we had those bad guys kind of sitting off to the side like, oh, somebody, how are they getting back at them? They're making fun of them. They're ridiculing. They're saying, you can't do that. Verse 20, then answered I them and said unto them, the God of heaven. Boys and girls, his answer wasn't, well, we're going to do it or I'm going to do it. He said, the God of heaven, he will prosper us. Therefore we, his servants, will arise and build, but ye have no portion, nor right, nor memorial in Jerusalem. Boys and girls, Nehemiah knew it was good to work, and he put these people in their place. He said, your enemies, your adversaries, you're going against us, but God will give us power. We're not really going to teach through chapter 3. I will just real quick summarize it. On the rebuilding of the wall, boys and girls, Nehemiah assigned families to work on different portions. So it basically says this family worked here, and then this family worked next to them, and that family worked next to them. And so that's kind of what chapter 3 does for us, is tell us who is building where, who is repairing the gates, and all of that. Nehemiah made a plan, and we see that God is a God of detail, and even listing out for us who worked on what part of the wall and who worked beside who. Boys and girls, God is in control, even when it seems like we have enemies or adversaries. So as you go about this week, as we just kind of went through the end of chapter 2 and summarized chapter 3, boys and girls, remember that it's good to work. Work is a good thing for us. And the younger you get used to working and learning how to work, and not that we never play, we love to play, but learning how to be a hard worker and do your best at everything is very important. So boys and girls, we look forward to seeing you next week, and then in 3 weeks on April